So, the Rance series. Where do I start? I will probably start from the beginning. It was a couple of years back, and I was on the internet, watched a few videos, browsed a few memes, and stumbled upon a very interesting picture. It was the vinegar fell. I assume a lot of you already know about the picture, but even then I will put it on display, just for those yet unaware of it. And I did not know where it was from, and I didn't care much about it. I knew it was a visual novel because of the way it was presented, but the choices were very interesting to say the least. So I didn't mind it, go my way, and then a few years later I was browsing the hentai that I could watch, and I stumbled upon a hentai called Rance 01 Hikari Omotomete, and I thought it was quite good. I had to play them. There was no other way for me to do it. I just had to play them. So I booted up Rance 7, also known as Sengoku Rance, and I never beat it, and I dropped it quickly after starting it. I think I had lasted 4 days or so, with very short play sessions. I never forgot about the series, but I wanted to start from the beginning. I didn't want to start in the middle or near the end of it. I wanted to start at the beginning. So, Rance 01, on the quest for Hikari, or Hikari Omotomete, as I said multiple times, because I'm a fucking weeb, is a remake of the original Rance 1 from 1989, in which Rance, our protagonist, an adventurer from the City of Eyes, took on a quest to find a missing girl called Hikari. And for those of you who do not know who Rance is, he is a young man with a very immense ego and an even higher libido. So he almost exclusively takes on well-paying quests and those who involve cute girls. Yeah, that's Rance, for those of you who do not know him yet. Gameplay-wise, there is a lot of gameplay in Rance, or more than you would expect at least for a visual novel type game. This is probably because Rance 01 is more of an adventure than a typical visual novel. Yes, you have to read a lot, but after all that, you have still a lot of gameplay to go through. And, well, there are two parts of the gameplay. First is the dungeon exploration and combat side of the gameplay, and the other half is the adventure type game. So, in terms of exploration and combat, there is not much, but it's still deep enough to sink your teeth. You see, exploration is done via the use of cards, which represent a path to take or an encounter to have. So if you go have an encounter, because you picked a card with a monster on it, you will enter combat. So, how does combat work? It's quite simple and yet very complicated. First of all, you don't have the typical choices of attacking, defending, running away, or using an item. Healing items can only be used outside of combat, while you can attack via using a sword or a weapon that you have as an item with you. Defending is an option you have as well, but you have to use a shield, which is also an item that you carry with you separately. All of those items are in the form of poker chips, and you can carry a lot of them with you. So you might opt for a few weapons, a few shields, and a lot of healing items, but you can only use them outside of combat. So if you know, okay, I will go in and have a longer combat, you can take multiple high damage weapons and high defense shields with you. But why carry multiple? Well, first of all, Rance has not many stats. He has HP, he has luck, and he has inventory space, which increases sometimes, not always. So you take 3 shields with you, and those are basically your defensive stat. And by them being your defensive stat, you can use as many of them as you want. Same for your weapons. You can use multiple of them in the same turn to deal high amounts of damage. Some shields and weapons also have 2 stats, attack and defense. So while attacking, you can also defend, or while defending, you can also attack. But those weapons also have a cooldown. So you have to plan around that. You will have to say, okay, well, I have a spear that has a cooldown of 2 and I have a shield that has a cooldown of 3. So I will use the spear now and the shield later for a stronger attack, because monsters have a pattern. Most of them have a pattern exclusively for themselves, but every time you encounter them, they will do the same routine. Some of them might start defending, so do you want to attack or what are you gonna do? It really is a lot of learning what the enemy does and adapting, so you can't just waltz through the game. Something you could actually do would be slaying the weakest enemies en masse. Like in that one South Park episode, you probably know which one I'm talking about. That's something I did, for example, but it didn't really pay off. It was boring and it killed the fun on multiple times for me. Yeah. By the way, leveling up is not as easy as just collecting the XP needed. No. You need to do more than just slaying enemies and collecting XP. What do you think this is? No. The world of Rance expects you to go to a shop to level up. Don't worry, you don't have to pay for it. You just have to go there. Why? Well, that's world building, and I must say, I like it. I like how they incorporate video game mechanics into the world, even if they make me do a few extra steps. It's nice, it's fun, I like it. I could live without it, but I don't think it hurts my enjoyment. It actually makes me think, okay, am I going a bit further, try to get more XP, or do I play it safe, go back and return, slay a few more of the weaker ones, and then go back and hope that I have enough XP. It's nice, I like it. It's an interesting system. You don't see that anywhere else, I guess, except for maybe other soft games. But for now, that's the only game I know about that has this kind of system. That's the combat. The adventure part of the game is where you have a lot of options. You have the options of talking to someone, looking at something or someone, touching something or someone, assaulting something or someone, which can lead to multiple funny situations, and you can also move. The move option is the one you will probably use most of the time, but you will use a lot of the other options as well, because the game expects you to use them a lot. Otherwise it wouldn't let you progress the game. And this is where a lot of the flaws, for me at least, start to show their ugly faces, because it didn't work for me, at least. It was, how do I say? Imagine playing D&D, but your DM is railroading you. That's how it felt. And I don't know if I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of it. But the game itself was fun. The situations were well enough written and set up, and I really can't complain much. It's just that the inflexibility of the game itself was something that killed my fun on multiple times. So if that's something you really have a gripe with, I recommend using a guide. So, since it is an age game, you probably ask, what about the characters? Well, let me tell you, the characters are quite appealing. I thought a lot of them were, well, nice enough designed just to cater to certain appeal. And I must say, I really liked the antagonists of the game. They were nicely designed as well, and they were very interestingly written. So, what about the other characters? The side characters? Well, them as well. They were fun to interact with. And there were only a few CGs that I did not grab. One of them because I just suck at gaming in general, and I messed up big time. But otherwise, I'm fine with it. It's a nice game. The age scenes is something that we will have to talk about now, and how do I put this? They were nice, but nothing special. Rance is infamous for certain things he does, and I must say, while yes, you could consider them a lot of the scenes that way, in the end, it really not, which is okay. I was hoping it's not just that one thing, and I'm pleasantly surprised to find out that it is rarely that one thing, but most of the time there is nothing else to it. It's just vanilla. And for a series that has a certain reputation or infamy, I must say I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Most of the time Rance takes the dominant role and everyone else is submissive. There are a few exceptions here and there, but those are rare. And those that weren't vanilla, oh boy, a lot of them were very sad. I caught myself multiple times reading that, pausing in between the lines and saying, God damn, that's sad. Why would someone write that? And it's really, a lot of the times it can kill your fun right then and there, but I like it. I like it. A little bit dark storytelling, that's what I think is an appeal of the genre itself. You can go places that a lot of other games could not go and would not dare to go. So this is fine. It's fine by me. I like it. for what it is, but besides of storytelling, there was nothing much to gain for it. At least in my opinion. Maybe future games will cater more to what I think is appealing, and maybe they don't. And if they don't, that's fine, because the story itself was interesting enough. I already knew who the perpetrator was because I watched the entire hentai, because the story was so interesting, at least I thought, for a hentai at least. And the game, let's say, it tells the story a little bit better, a bit more interesting. There is even world building in the game, which I must say, it caught me off guard. That a man in concrete would tell me about the world that the game takes place in and would not let me go. Something that I actually found annoying, because I was like, okay, cool, I want the world building, but give it later. Right now I just want to do this one quest and not beat the game, but progress the game. And the game just wouldn't let me. So I had to talk to him, and so we have thought about everything, right? We talked about the gameplay, we talked about the story, what the game is about. We talked about the character, we talked about the age. No, there's one thing we haven't talked about, and this is the music. What? Really? The music? Yes! I tell you guys, the music in this game is good. I have a rule that if I have a fantasy setting, I don't want to hear guitars or anything. I want the medieval shit. But Rance and a few other games actually use medieval stuff because it wouldn't work for the game. So, what are my favorite tracks? I must say, it is, for one, Royal Chaser, which starts playing near the end in, I think, the last or second to last dungeon. And there was one else. Oh yeah, My Glory Days. Fuck yeah. My Glory Days, I love it. So, should you play Rance 01 for the quest for Ikari? I'd say no, because the hentai is a lot better. It's the same story, it's a lot shorter, even though the game itself isn't that long either. But you can save yourself a lot of frustration by just not playing the game and watching the hentai instead. But if you want to play and experience a very unique game with very unique ideas and experience a little bit of world building that is just not there in the hentai, yeah, then go play the game. For everyone else, that's a hard no. That's a pass. Don't bother. I like the game myself, but it's more of a guilty pleasure at that point. So, I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave a like if you did. And if you know someone who could enjoy something like that, some content in that weird direction that I'm taking it, please send it to him, because I would have loved to see content like that a couple of years ago. It's been a couple of months since I've worked on this. It's taken me 10 months, almost 11, just to get this review done in some way, shape or form. So if you have something that you want to tell me, something you want me to do better or would like to see me do better, maybe some structural things, maybe something with the audio or with the editing, then please tell me in the comments what you would like to see me do better, and maybe how I could do it better if you have some know-hows on it. Otherwise, I will just try to figure it out myself, as I do most of the time with stuff. And yeah, if you want more content like that, maybe subscribe, because I have a few more of these in the pipeline and quite the library to work through. And I intend on doing this, so I really do. That's one of the few pleasures in life today. So, thanks again for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Next up is gonna be Rance 02, and I have a lot to say about that, but it might not take as much time as this one.